Hi, welcome to Missions Minutes with Hal and Jane Ward at VNministry.com. We are in a very special place, but let's find out about it.
So we're here with new friends from the Netherlands, Jan and his wife, Inamika, and Rochella, and an American named Michelle from Michigan. And they live here in northern Spain and work on the Camino de Santiago. So what is the Camino de Santiago?
So it's a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela. So most people will walk, and it will take them about like 5 weeks in average. Every day about 25 kilometers. And there are also people that do it on bike. You stay in albergues like ours here.
Oh, so this is an albergue.
Right.
Okay.
Now, albergue is a hostel, and why do people do the Camino de Santiago? Why do the people do that?
Why did you do it, Michelle?
Many reasons. When I did it with my friends because we were living in Madrid and we had Semana Santa and we wanted to see Spain. So I did it in different pieces. I didn't do it in one go. A lot of people do it because they're on a journey. Either they've gone through a major life transition, like graduating from college, or a death in the family, or losing a job, something like that. And there are people who do it just for the physical challenge. We've had people who are running it, and they'll do 40, 50K a day.
So this is part of a ministry called Oasis Trails. Tell us a little bit about that ministry.
It started in the Netherlands with a guy who was basically a hippie, and as a hippie he traveled to India, and while he was on some experimental trip with some drugs, he actually met Jesus. And so since then he has had a passion for the gospel, for Jesus, and a special passion for people that are also on roads wandering and searching for maybe the meaning of life. And so it was this person with his friend who came to search out if there was an opportunity to start a hostel on the Camino de Santiago where many of these people are walking. And I think this also started in 1999.
So we are a community. We are a family of 6, and Michelle and Rochella are living with us and working with us here as staff. And we get in summer a lot of volunteers who want to help us here. So with all of them we have a community. The volunteers are basically here in this village. We live in a village in the same valley where we have a community house and our family house. And that's just also a place where we want to be welcoming people who want to, mostly Europeans, who want to come here to have a break or to just get a taste of what community living is like, or want to know more about growing in their faith, get to know Jesus better. God's kingdom is expanding here. And it's all evolving around the Camino. That's the main thing. Yeah.
And around community in that sense. I think community to all of us is quite dear. It's not like let's achieve a task or clean the bed. It is nothing without living it out in a holistic way, and we strongly believe in togetherness of believers.
All of our volunteers do speak English, but obviously pilgrims come from all nations and speak a variety of languages, so it's also helpful when volunteers have a second language.
So why ministry to pilgrims per se?
I think for us as a family, we lived in Australia and we have there been involved in ministry to backpackers, which is like the young people that go with a backpack for a year and journey and travel. And so we hosted them on a farm, and there was started a bit of that experience of living with people that are on a journey. They're outside of their normal habitat, and then they are a bit more free to think differently, and they're open to different ideas. And so we see them only at that time in Australia for a few weeks and here for only one day, but it's a soft soil to plant a seed in.
And on the Camino, there's permission to ask a stranger a deep question. And you find out that in just 15 minutes of talking with someone here, you know more about their heart than their friends and family back
Wow.
home
Yes.
where they're wearing a mask.
Wow.
And so it just takes down all the mass. It's for them. There's no risk. They're not going to see you again unless
Nope.
they want to.
Right.
And there are some that we do keep in touch with, and we hear down the road what happened with them.
They are genuinely interested in us.
Okay.
So when they come and we have a meal together with them around tables like this, and you sit next to each other, you ask them, hey, why are you walking the Camino, da da da, and then they say, what are you doing here? And they are so interested because it's all new to them, and we won't see each other again probably.
Right.
So there's a lot of openness for us compared to the backpackers. It sometimes took 3 months to get a good conversation.
Uh-huh.
Here it's literally the first 15 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
is there someone stick out, a memory of someone who was really touched by the ministry here? Or?
When we tell people about Jesus, we're not just inviting them to sit in a church on a Sunday morning. We're inviting them into a family.
Your
Wow.
lifestyle.
And so for them to see how we live as family, that's appetizing to them. Whereas a church service on a Sunday morning has maybe put them off to Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, this generation. And so there was one time, it was in the evening, and we were out on the terrace. We just hang out there. We have a Jesus meditation at night, and so it was after that. And one of the volunteers came up and said to a few of us, like, something happened to my hand, it really hurts. And we said, we'll pray for you. So the volunteers circled around our volunteer, and we prayed for her. And then, it was that was normal for us. And I came back in, and I was in the storeroom, and there was a little knock on the door, and it was a pilgrim, and we'd given her a pair of flip-flops earlier in the evening, and she came in and she said, I just really want to thank you for the flip-flops. I said, oh yeah, you're welcome, no problem. And then she just stood there, and so I was like, is there something else, like, are you? And she goes, well, and you can see like tears starting to well up. She goes, well, I saw what you did for the girl outside, and that you prayed for her, and could you pray for me?
Wow.
And so I grabbed another volunteer, and so we prayed for her, and her feet were really hurting her,
Yes.
and so we prayed for her, and she was just so touched.
So often in ministry or mission environment, it's missions has been projected as standing on a pedestal or a crate and preaching the good message, which we all know from here, but we don't always live it. And when people come here, you cannot fake it when you're cooking a meal and it's burning. And so, but you cannot fake getting stressed. So we have some of these experiences. But what happens is that people see how we deal with each other, with stress outside when they all want to check in, with a problem with electricity, whatever. And that's what testifies. It's not the message, because you can read it online and find it anywhere.
Right.
But it's the lived out thing. And that's why we value community. And
You're also creating a community of disciples.
Yeah, and also already with the people who come to help us, like all of us carry stuff of our life. We all have a backpack that is filled with things that have happened to us.
Yeah.
Those stories that are happening to each one of us from the community are then used to minister to the people who come. We've had volunteers here who have lost their spouse, and many of the walkers are going through a time of mourning and grief, and sometimes walk with the ashes of their deceased family member. We had a young guy from Brazil who walked with the ashes of his 29-year-old wife who passed away, and it happened to be our volunteer who just lost her husband who went out to talk to him. So again, there's nothing that we can fake.
That's right.
But by being here, God is using each one of us beyond imagination.
In the medieval period, the Catholic Church ministered to pilgrims through hospitals and monasteries to provide a place of healing, because people would get sick and have needs and burdens on the Camino. And now that it's sort of more sports oriented, maybe they've lost that. It sounds like you guys are reviving that, like a spiritual hospital on the Camino.
Today, God may be calling you to just come and serve and be a part of a community, be vulnerable, be a part of a belonging that Jesus gives to people. When they decide, I want Jesus in my life.
Wow.
You want to be our volunteer?
Well, thank you very much for sharing from your hearts. I think this is an amazing opportunity for people to do mission work in a capacity that they may not have thought of before. And that God is working and doing things in Europe because the mission field is ready here.
Right?
Good.
That's awesome. This is
So
awesome.
thanks for listening, and we'll
Thanks.
see you next time on Missions Minute.